We are delighted to have our presenter today, Shawn Parry from LaunchWild, share his love of AI and how to leverage it in life and business. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to you, Shawn.
Thanks, Spencer. I love these type of Zoom get-togethers, especially when my picture comes up like this, because it makes me realize I need to get a new photo of myself. But excited to be here. As Spencer said, I love AI. I own a small business called LaunchWild. It was previously a very manual agency years ago. We had a handful of employees, 3 or 4 were full-time, and it was incredibly exciting. We'd handle everything from manufacturing and support in Asia with about 45 sourcing agents subcontracted over there. And then LaunchWild was the content and marketing side here in the States. I folded that a few years ago, and we've since turned it into a SaaS product, or are beginning to turn it back into a SaaS product with a fully utilized platform where people go and build automations. But today I want to take a moment and talk about how to structure prompts, frameworks around getting to your ideal use cases of AI, identifying gaps, and then give you a little treat about how I use it personally. So if I could still the screen, I will start the presentation. Perfect. A little bit more about me before we jump in. I have about 20 years e-commerce experience. And so a lot of what I do comes in the space of supporting various e-commerce or businesses that live inside of that space. True omni-channel and global, I've sold around the world with multiple companies and have sold from the largest brick and mortar retailers down to the smallest e-commerce websites. So with that, I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of how to structure what could potentially be your AI strategy if you develop a product or simply use ChatGPT or Bard or other input-based LLMs. Really quick, before we start, how many people use ChatGPT? Just drop it in the chat, yes, or ChatGPT, one of those two. I want to see how much of the group is actually using AI today. Looks like just about everyone. Perfect. Is there anyone not using AI today? I should have asked it that way. Okay. All right, not using. Perfect. Well, I hope a little bit of this kind of comes out as far as opportunities to use it, should you want to. It's a phenomenal tool. The personal aspects, I say focus in there because this helps me save quite a bit of time daily. And without further ado, I'll jump in. So AI, before we get into anything, I want to talk about how to utilize it in the sense of like how it can improve our lives. So we're here to explore artificial intelligence and how we can use it both work, at home. And before, again, I get into any solutioning, I want to make sure we understand the needs and the problem areas. So think of this as diagnosing before prescribing. In a business setting, a lot of us look at inefficiencies, and they might manifest in various ways, such as manual tasks that take hours, bottlenecks in customer service, or supply chains that look like tangled webs more than anything. And the real question behind that is how much is that costing you, not in dollars, but is employee morale. Like how many people here have employees that you think could be more efficient? You could 10x their output. How many people you think aren't living up to their potential because they're stuck for various reasons? Switching gears to our personal lives, how many of us find ourselves overwhelmed trying to manage meal planning, for one, sticking to a budget, things like that. And I often ask myself, man, I wish I had a personal assistant in business and in my personal life just to manage most of this information or just help me at all. Because many entrepreneurs on this call will understand managing your home life, managing your business, and then anything else in between, it takes a lot of time. The common thread here, though, is whether it's your workspace or your home space, the inefficiencies exist. But the good news is that the AI and applications that are built now can optimize both of them. So today we're going to explore and identify these inefficiencies, more importantly, how to plug them plug them using artificial intelligence. So the way that I actually operate, I operate in two planes. Goal, action, details, which is a robust framework for goal setting. It's crucial for success of any project. And I always start with the goal in mind. Start with Why by Simon Sinek was a favorite book growing up. And so I reversed everything that I do and I start with the end goal. Using this three-step framework of goal, action, and details, you can lay the groundwork for your AI implementation. Let's illustrate this with an example. And I'm going to bring the prompt up here. I was helping a substitute teacher build a lesson plan for a high school class. It's life skills, so there isn't much around the state required curriculum, but more or less teaching them how to do certain things post school. And for that, I built this prompt, and I just want to go through it because it's going to explain how we actually utilize the goal, the action, the details, and then the role, objective, details, example, and sense check structure to build a prompt using AI. So once you set a goal of, I need to build a lesson plan, I need to build worksheets, and I need to make it 45 minutes for a high school student in the US, I now can structure my prompt by using a role, objective, details, and examples. Now I'm going to annotate this just so you're aware. So here's the role that I put into one of my, I use ChatGPT for this one, but we actually build pretty robust tools, and this is where we got our start. So we'll always mock with ChatGPT just to see the structure, but then we'll actually go and build our AI tools. So this is the role. So I told ChatGPT, you are a course designer. And then for the objective, you are designing a series of courses for a junior high school class in the United States for a course around life skills planning. The class is 45-minute longs. Any lesson plan will also need to be companioned with a worksheet for kids to understand what was taught during the lesson plan and to retain it while exercising their knowledge of information being taught. That's its goal. I reinforce the sense check by saying, don't build anything yet. I'll give you further instructions shortly on the course to create first, and the structure of each lesson plan, lesson details, and worksheet. This piece is imperative that I label each section of what I'm going to have it output. And then I ask, does it understand? Or do you understand? If so, I'll supply you a template with structure for all topics. And this template is a template of a lesson plan, a template of the details, and a template of the worksheet. The don't do anything yet, Spencer, just to answer your comment inside of there, is a great way for it to pause and think back. A one piece prompt, which I'll get into a chain, is very weak in the sense of I'm just asking it to do one thing and it's not going to get the full details. I also often follow up with ask any questions you might have to understand the goal that I'm trying to achieve. And that has allowed me to interface with ChatGPT a little bit different because it then asks questions to understand the total goal if I'm not phrasing it properly. Now I want to take a step back from this and say, how many people here have employees in their business or are an employee and often get vague question or vague actions from the boss, or you give vague requests to an employee and they ask a lot of follow-up questions? Funny enough, this framework works for your business life as well. All right. So the idea behind a true structure from the boss, yeah, never from the boss. Boss's word is gold. But it works for working with your employees. It allows you to clearly think through the goal you're trying to achieve, how you want it implemented, what you want their role to be, and then how you can correspond with them back and forth. Now, this structure, this roads structure here, and then I'm going to stop annotating because I'm done drawing, is one of the more powerful ones I've actually utilized as far as a ChatGPT based prompt. Really quick before I move on, how many people actually build and use AI products of their own, not ChatGPT, but you build on OpenAI's API or anything like that? Yes, in the comment box. Jacob, kind of. Okay. So I'll tailor this a little bit more towards the ChatGPT Bard sections, but there's also a lot of tools, which I'll get into a little bit later, that can help you get a little bit deeper into this structure. Any questions about the role, objective, details, and examples, please write them down and bring them to the Q&A or drop them in the question box and I'll answer them as we go. So really quick before we proceed on, continuing with the course design scenario, once your goals, action, and details are all laid out, you can use that model to create specific prompts. And remember, the lesson plan, lesson details, and worksheet I labeled as 3 distinct pieces. Because now whenever I create a different course, I can simply go back to that memory thread and ask it, I need to now create a course about X, Y, and Z. I will give you a lesson plan template, and you now created a system that you can replicate over and over and over and over, right? Now I'm going to use a real life example for this one. You know the 3-step framework. You also now understand the Rhodes model for crafting a prompt. Let's talk one more element, and that's chaining them together. This is the strength of ChatGPT, Bard, and other memory-based LLMs. And the prompt chaining, it's not just a feature, it's a strategy. A lot of people just think it's built in. They can have a 50 correspondence thread inside of ChatGPT or whatever LLM, and it'll remember it. Defining your sections, lesson plan, lesson detail, etc., allows you to then replicate that over and over and over. But let's get a little bit more concrete with this chaining piece. This brand hope, brand structure that you see on the screen here is my first AI tool that I actually built. It was a brand book that allowed me to create brand books in mass. I've created over 500 using this rough structure, and we ended up selling this micro SaaS product about 3 months ago. Imagine you have the basics, again, everything in yellow: brand terms, keywords, product focus. So if I'm a car detailing, if I own a mobile car detailing company and I sell pressure washers and carpet shampoo, my product type is car detailing accessories, right? As I get further down the chain, I can specialize in car detailing shampoo, car detailing leather cleaner, stuff like that. But this allows you to set the structure or the framework around your prompt that you can query anytime later. Prompt chaining is your factory floor. Think of it like a factory floor. You feed those core elements in, and AI will systematically generate the outputs and define your brand tone, sentiment, mission, values, but it doesn't stop there. It takes each output and uses the last output as the input for your next section. That's the beauty of chaining. So you're not constantly having to ask it a next step. It will work on top of itself. And this is more of a structure that we built at LaunchWild when we utilize our tools. This brand book actually uses about 18 different models together from 3 different LLMs. And that allows us to get a very robust output, a very polished brand book when we're actually doing it, and define archetypes, which then further lead into more marketable materials later on. The brand book becomes very cohesive and nuanced as you progress and you do this over and over and over. And imagine having a brand tone that perfectly aligns with your mission statement, your tagline that resonates with your market position, or if you're contacting affiliates or partners to converse with them, it's crafting tone and voice on how you or your brand would resonate that otherwise. It serves as a foundational element, and then I'm going to kind of show you a structure of how we use it. A foundational element for all of your marketing content downstream. So brand book is a tool that we actually created. Customer persona does the same thing. Product types is fed from the initial input, and then we build a 500 row database of all the secondary or tertiary holidays, and then we have the NRF 454 retail calendar for all the primary holidays. And now we've created an automated system for over 1,000 different brands that will create content for that event, for that holiday, for that promotion, without us having to go back to the well every time and ask ChatGPT or Bard or whatever we use to go create that content. I can simply now ask, I need a customer-facing email for this brand, and it creates that email. But the structure is imperative for us to get that level of scale, get that level of consistency out of the prompts. I don't know if you guys have seen some prompt drifting or hallucination once you use ChatGPT or anything for a little while. But the nice part is if you don't like the first draft, don't worry, because you can take these elements and refine them. Each piece is interchangeable. You can feed it back into the prompts as a learning experience. I didn't quite like this, or I did like this, and you can reinforce that message as you continue on. And the beauty of it is it provides a scalable way to tackle complex projects. I met a few of you in the breakout session. I've talked with Spencer, I've talked with Taylor. We all have very nuanced issues in our business. And this structure has allowed us to take those nuanced issues and break them down into bite-sized pieces and build tools that then allow us to replicate those issues repeatedly with simplicity. Chaining also allows a comprehensive and polished solution to rise up a little bit quicker. I mean, imagine right now writing a product brief for a new product launch 1,000 times. The world that I come from inside of my I still maintain an additional job with a company that owns hundreds of brands, and we launched over 2,000 products in a year, and we used AI to develop that launch model consistently over and over and over and over. And we saw 8-figure growth from that in year one. And we wouldn't have done that otherwise if we didn't have that structure. So leveraging AI for business automation, and this is now specifically more into LaunchWild. We've covered the framework, we covered the prompt chaining, and I want to introduce you to a small snippet of what we offer specifically. And it's not just talking about AI in theory. We apply these techniques inside of how we generate real-world automations for businesses. So what you see in front of you is a workflow example where we leverage OpenAI's response for all of the items in yellow, and then we have it running a sentiment analysis on the back end of how a customer would actually respond to us. So in the example, imagine you run a promotion and the leads are coming in. What next? Do you have the manpower to chase down the leads individually? Is there an AI automated system that comes in? Who knows where? And that's where we kind of build our solution. The process starts when somebody fills out the lead form at the top. An automated text is sent. If there's a response within an hour, the AI analyzes the consumer, what they did on our site, what their engagement with any of the other entities, social media, etc., were. And then it tracks their response. We typically have a word response like, how was your service? How did we do? And based off what they did, if it's positive or negative, we re-rank them again. This allows us to get a better understanding for not only our service results, our customer service results, and how we're serving the customer, but our flows as well. And it gets better as that customer interacts with these automations back and forth and additional pieces of our website. We train the AI to interact with the customer the way that they prefer, whether that's a text message, an email, the actual tone, the actual voice. It starts to tailor their responses and our responses to meet their needs. Positive interactions, those leads get marked as hot. They come in as targeted new offers for the next set of product launches or promotions that we might have. And then from there, we ask them to leave reviews on, say, Google My Business to expand our footprint of like what people are looking for that company if you were to Google them. So there's additional attributes of action based upon the customer sentiment and what they actually do. And so getting there, what is zero shot? We'll get to that one in just a moment. A great question. All right, jumping back in. How do we get there? By taking these strategic frameworks and using them together, as we discussed, the goal, action, detail, the roads, and then the prompt chaining. You're essentially building replicatable employees for your business. And that's how we kind of view each step of this program. It allows us to take and make interactions with the customer where they are, and we interact with them on their terms. Don't know what to do next. We recently added in an additional prompt tool. So, hey, I have these customers in my email. I haven't emailed them for 2 months. I have a Klaviyo account and we don't know what to do. Simply ask a question based off how people are interacting. What do we do next? And you get guidance on how you can build your next step of your marketing campaign or your business operations. We've worked with many people who had great leads. Their marketing side was on lock, but they didn't know how to expand. And this is where we took some deeper level and more advanced AI models that we built and applied it to their business. And it gave us more operational functions. Hey, what if we increase customer service with the chatbot, 24/7 support? What if we automated the logistics chain? What if we, the inserts go on and on and on. Now, one last piece. This is a few snapshots from LaunchWild platform. In utilizing today's digital landscape, we have more tools and platforms than ever. And the challenging part is making them consistently work together. As I mentioned before, the 3-step framework, roads, and then chaining all build upon each other. And we like to break the silos of business, meaning we like to be the connective tissue that brings everything into a unified ecosystem. And that's essentially what we do at LaunchWild. Perfect. Thank you. So inside of that, imagine where you can have all of your current tech stack and bring in the connective tissue that would tie together your operations, your customer outreach, your business efficiencies into one spot. That's where these structures and these AI tools start to work together inside of LaunchWild's platform. No more shooting in the dark with the AI analytics. Every marketing campaign, every interaction, every piece of your business is now measured, so you can work it back and understand where the inefficiencies and efficiencies lie. So if you're looking to integrate any AI tools, empower your team, or truly understand your customers, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to talk more about what we specialize in and being the connective tissue that brings all these elements together, enriched by AI to help you achieve your business goals. Wrap up there.
Thanks, Shawn. Awesome. Totally awesome. Questions, comments, requests from the group of Shawn while we have him here today? I think we should do another session, Shawn, honestly. Like,
yeah.
I want to dig in on a use case from the group, maybe.
Yeah, next time I'll bring tools. We are about a week away from launching the entire site, or else I would have been inside of there walking a little bit more.
Can I be selfish and ask for something?
Sure.
I teach university students in business communication, and so I'm just trying to find the best sort of prompt, basic kind of prompt design, best practices, guidelines. Like, everything that you just showed me will be great and super useful, but maybe just stepping back to something even a little bit more basic for just prompt design. So I don't know if you can point me to any resources focusing specifically on that. And I really liked how you broke it into the steps and all that, so I'll use all that. But anything else that you might think of, is particularly that is for teachers, that would be great.
Yeah. So there is, our CTO used to be on Teacher for Teacher, and he's doing a lot to help enrich teachers to create communicative tools, to create content around. So Brett, I think with that one, let's catch back up, and I'll actually design a couple for you that you can put in variables, depending on whatever you want to talk about. But the structure itself would give you the ability to basically copy and paste in at that point.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. So how do we connect?
That is a great question. Find me on LinkedIn. I'm dropping my LinkedIn bio here in the chat. For that one specifically, and anyone else, I'm happy to meet up and talk prompt design if you're using ChatGPT regularly. And I can point you into a few directions of how to actually structure a few inputs that make it a lot more robust.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hey, Shawn, question from Bob Bench, utilizing AI and these services in small businesses.
Yes. Bob, can I get you to come off mute and give me 3 instances of where you find the biggest pain points in your business?
Yeah, very, thanks. And what a great presentation. A very small business launching a product for the first time. Are your services, can they employ your services economically for a small first-time shot out at the market?
Yep. Yeah, great question. So we do have packages that are about to come out. Like I said, the platform is about to launch, and that's when it'll really take off. But for between $30 and $50 a month, pending the platform package, you would be able to get access to AI tools that would figure out what keywords to focus on depending on what platform you're going against, write the content for you, deploy the content for you, analyze your customers, tell you more about your customer personas, and then build you a total launch plan. As mentioned, I spent about 2 decades in e-commerce, and we specifically focus on go-to-market. And those launch plans, we've worked in about 30 different sectors, from healthcare, baby, CPG, consumables, you name it. And we have the models and modules inside of the platform to help you.
And are those SaaS? Are they those modules that we download and we have availability to once you've released those?
Yep. So it will be a SaaS model, and so you'll be able to not only launch products but continue them from the growth stage to a more maintenance stage as well.
And what about your consultative services if needed for employees, et cetera, et cetera? Is that something separate and apart from the SaaS modules that you'll be developing?
Yeah, you have the great question. So there will be a consultative base on the back end, so you can add that on. That one is a little bit of a different structure. It's an hourly based structure, but we have tools that will help guide you through. They learn about your business and they work like digital consultants inside of it. And if you want to chat with me directly, I do have a link that you can schedule time and we can do an introduction, talk about your business, or work on consultative basis post that.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Great questions.
Maybe the question from Chad then, Shawn, best recommendation for starting point with AI in marketing?
That is an excellent question. There's a lot to that one, Chad. And what I would say is identify your things that don't change. I always like to start with brand book because that becomes your basis for how you communicate every other piece outside of that. I can share some tools that we use to kind of rebuild the brand builder. After that, you can create any marketing collateral at that point, email, socials, LinkedIn, you name it. And I can send you a structure of how we started our little business, kind of that same way, and then how we're doing it for other businesses now, and what to look for, and how we can use generative AI, not just in text, but also imagery.
I'd be interested in that. Thank you again for the presentation. It was great. And I reached out to you on LinkedIn. It would be interesting. I don't think I'm alone in that. Like, AI is really interesting and fun and useful. And sometimes it feels a little like eating the elephant, and just, so the starting point is, I was just curious at where you'd seen that work the best,
Yeah. Out of the last 4 months and about 260 brands that we've worked with, it all started with the brand book, because that's the one consistent thing that you'll always have, is how you speak to the customer and how you put that content out as far as tone and voice, etc. So I'd say start there, and then on top of that, you can build any other pieces or form of assets.
It makes a ton of sense. I mean, we do that manually, but a lot of times it's a tough sell to get the client to appreciate the value of starting there. And so I think that's a really useful piece of feedback.
Or take theirs and start with that as a base.
Yeah,
it allows you to give two different perspectives of what's already created versus creating something that is now supported. Because a brand book lives and breathes with how customers interact as well. If a company doesn't evolve, then you can start to see customers kind of change as well, change away from their core products. And that's why I say brand books should be looked at maybe every quarter, 2 quarters, not changed, but looked at to make sure you're still on target with who your core customers are.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Seeing one here from Valerie. Valerie, the LaunchWild platform is unique. So we invested in a platform that allows us to generate AI tools rapidly. So typically 30 days, we can build pretty robust tools that you see on the market right now. They range, the most expensive one for an affiliate hunter is what we call it, where it will prospect out affiliates based on your product type or keywords on TikTok, Instagram, etc., was about $6,000 for a create to launch. So very, very cost effective for what is typically out there. And that gave the person who purchased it a full CRM, email suite, and SMS behind it as well.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other final questions? Oh, Alan, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I put a couple of links into the chat that have really concerned me recently. One is from a professor at Wharton School who is really big into AI, and he was talking then about how books on audio, in partnering with Microsoft AI, is taking thousands of books on audio that are past copyright laws. However, there's so many questions then about how AI is able to mimic, decipher, recreate an actress's voice to go along with that, so that, let's say, the AI is creating a voice in the code that sounds like Morgan Freeman, and Morgan Freeman's not going to be getting any of that credit. I'm wondering then, with my product, my service, what I'm doing, can AI then evolve and go then to the USPTO.gov, take my patent and recreate everything that my patent is doing without being accountable for that?
That is a very interesting standpoint. Voice AI, I've used that quite a bit. I've recreated loved ones who have passed on and wrote poems for people for fun to see how that works. But for the USPTO design around type of thing is an interesting one. I hadn't thought of that, but if I were to, I'm going to play devil's advocate and pretend to build one on the fly right here, just metaphorically. If I were to do that, I'd take your patent, I'd read the entire patent, find out where, like what type utility or design and where that is, and then ask questions to various AI tools. Say you could even use ChatGPT for this, but ask questions where the inefficiencies of the patent lie in comparison to, say, 3 or 4 other patents. Let it read all of them, and then I would exploit the hole inside of your patent if I were to do that. And I bet that you would get somewhere pretty quick. I bet you could probably do that in maybe 30 or 40 minutes. If you have a strong patent, it could hold up, but the nice part about AI is it could probably also give you 4 or 5 different product ideas that wouldn't necessarily infringe, but could be complementary to the space as well. So if you are also looking to strengthen your patent, it might be nice to do a risk assessment this way. Download your own, download competitors, and download the other ones and run it through it, and then see what you could do for maybe a secondary patent to strengthen your own.
Yeah, my reasoning for that is because, like I said, this is Microsoft AI, and in case, number one, it would be very difficult for me to figure out unless they promoted it and saying that they're using a technology which I created, for me to be able to identify that it's being used in these books on audio. And books on audio is one of our verticals that we're going after. So, like I said, the problem then is, if it is Microsoft, it would be 5-6 years before we even went to court in case we did want to be able to stop that. So it's just like all these actors and actresses that are putting their voices now then out there for voiceover work and being paid for it. I mean, it like the girl who just sang on Sunday Night Football. She's getting paid $1 million a week for that 90-second intro that she did for like 18 weeks, just for that one voice that she did. Now then, if AI is able to replicate that and involve people in, oh, I understand, I recognize that voice, which it isn't, it is an AI. Where's the morality then of or what, how would an actor or actress even feel compelled to act or act, ever again?
Yeah, that's the unfortunate side to AI. I mean, I've also heard of scams where people use the voice of a sibling or a son or daughter to call the parent and ask for money, right? It's a complete scam. That's the downside to it. We have a completely new world in front of us. This is also where more stringent governance around it is very important for AI. So how do you ethically use it? How do you go against, say, Microsoft AI and converse with them around your patents and what you have versus what they're coming out with, and all the voice piece? It's all about the ethical use, right? My laptop's a tool that I can use daily. I can either turn it into something that generates me money and builds my business, or I can do nefarious things with it. It's all about the tools and the hands that utilize it. So I'd say if there are qualms around it, then there's a handful of governing bodies that are collecting to help regulate it a little bit more, to support some of that and be a little bit more transparent with how they're actually doing it. I'd say join in on those. It's a very interesting conversation. There's a lot of different dynamics happening behind the scenes of it, but I'd say jump in and join those ones.
Thanks, Shawn. Thanks, Alan. Thanks everyone for the Q&A. And this is great. This is, I think, the first of, well, it's actually not the first, but we'll have several more of these AI related presentations. So thanks everyone for coming out. We'll see you next week.
Cheers all.
Yeah.